that time of year again. Can you believe it? It is absolutely insane how fast the time is flying by, dude. But another year has gone by, and it is time for another year-end top 10 albums list. I personally think this was a great year for music, and you will find that in this list, it is the case with a lot of these projects that I think a lot of them are very equal in quality, and so I had to stack them and rate them in terms of my personal experience with the projects, because when I took the objective route, a lot of them were just kind of even, in my opinion. So we got a lot of really great albums, and so I had to kind of put some personal experiences in there in order to get a top 10 list. But yeah, I'm not going to waste too much of your time with an introduction or anything like that. I know you guys have been waiting for this video for a while, so I'm just going to jump right into it. I will say, support the channel in absolutely any way that you possibly can. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already done so, subscribe, like the video if you end up enjoying it. You don't have to do it now. You can wait till the end. Just don't forget. Becoming a patron is a great way to support the channel. It helps me to make as many videos as possible, as often as possible. The patrons get access to the Discord server, exclusive live streams, free merch. Some tiers get beat leases. They get to pick out any of the beats that I've made and posted onto the channel, and they can use them for whatever they want to if they've got personal projects going on. Some tiers also get specific reactions for music of their own, and so you definitely want to be a patron if you want some access to some really cool stuff. And the more patrons that I have, the better I can make the actual rewards. So there's also that. So it might pay off in the long run as well. But yeah, besides saying support the channel and doing kind of like the obligatory self-promotion that making a YouTube video comes with, we're going to jump right into it. I'm just going to start off with number 10 on my top 10 list, and I'm going to try and put the album covers here so that if you don't really remember what album I'm talking about by its name, you will maybe remember it with the image as well. And hopefully also with this list, I inspire you to go back and listen to some great music that you might not have listened to in a few months. So number 10 on my list is To Whom I May Concern by Beakys. Now, he's not that big of an artist. I did a reaction to his album when it dropped back in January, I believe. And it was just incredible off my first listen. I really enjoyed listening to that project. I remember putting album of the year ? In the actual title of the video because it was such a great album right out of the gate in 2019. I was just so excited to hear it. Beakys does a lot of music with Jon Bellion. That's also one of my most watched videos, the Jon Bellion reaction that I did late last year. He's a tremendous artist. Jon Bellion only makes music with very talented people. He's a great lyricist. The storytelling is great on this. The production is not very conventional. It's not, regular trap or the very distinct hip-hop sound that hip-hop has nowadays. There are some very interesting production choices that he makes. Some very experimental turns, some nice synths. He also goes into kind of like a very synthwave electronic vibe with his production, but he's just a phenomenal lyricist. If you follow him on Instagram, he posts a lot of freestyles on there and he's just ridiculous. So I really just enjoy the quality of the music, of the lyricism. It is kind of a long listen. If I'm not mistaken, there are 18 tracks on this project, but he basically tells the story of his life. Heistbox, his debut album, I believe, was also very, very good. This is kind of like a part 2 to Heistbox. There's a track, I think it's called Transitions, where he basically tells the entire story of his life in like 3 minutes. It's really great, and the transitions between one section of the track to another are just absolutely great, symbolizing the transitions from like boyhood to teenager to man and things like that. Just a phenomenal project with a great concept and really impressive display of talent and lyricism. So if you're a fan of that stuff and you've never heard this, definitely check it out. Forgive the noise in the background. I showed in my last video, the vlog, the puppy vlog, the reason why there are so many bird sounds from outside. My neighbors just got a bunch of them. If you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out. You can meet Donatello. He's our new pit bull. He's ridiculously cute. But yeah, give that a listen if you haven't. It's great music. Number 9 on my list is Injury Reserve by Injury Reserve. I had a blast listening to this project the first time that I heard it. It was ridiculously fun going back to it and listening to it when I made this list. There's just such awesome experimental production choices. That song where they make like a how to make a hip hop song, the hip hop song tutorial, something like that, is really funny. Jailbreak the Tesla is a great track. The feature from Peggy is just awesome, so energetic, such a nice, abrasive aggressive, in-your-face project that anybody who is a fan of experimental hip-hop can enjoy, but also it's approachable enough to where somebody who isn't too big of a fan of experimental hip-hop will also be able to appreciate it and enjoy it. And it's just ridiculously fun to listen to. The lyricism is crazy, the flow is crazy, the storytelling is crazy, and the production is bonkers. It's really, really good. I had a blast listening to it, like I said. I think it's definitely deserving of a higher spot on this list in terms of its actual quality. The only reason it's at number 9 is because, like I said, I took my personal experiences into account when I made the list. I enjoyed some other projects a little bit more, but objectively, the quality of this, I would say, is like a top 5 album for sure. Number 8 on my list is All My Heroes Are Cornballs. And I know that a lot of you guys might have this at number 1. Like I said, it's ridiculously high quality music. JPEG Mafia killed it with this project. I enjoyed it on a first listen more than I enjoyed my veteran first listen, because I was a little bit more accustomed to his whole approach to music. It was a little friendlier on the ears. It was a little more approachable than veteran was. I think I mentioned that veteran was more rhythmic, whereas this was more melodic, and he took kind of more of a singing approach to it that was a little easier to listen to. So he changed things up a little bit. We had some great takeaways from this project, some very strong singles. And it's the same case as Injury Reserve. Objectively, this deserves that top 5 spot. But on my list, with my personal experiences listening to these projects, it just didn't make that cut. And I honestly wanted to put it in my top 3. I really did, but there were just other albums that I enjoyed so much more. We're gonna get to them very soon. But All My Heroes Are Cornballs comes in at number 8 on my list. And I didn't mention this at the beginning, but last year you guys did this. I'm sure you'll do the same this year. Leave your top 10 lists in the comment section, and then it'll be just really fun to compare and talk about music, as long as we all remember to stay civil in the comment section. I can't stand hate in the comment section, towards each other. You can send hate to me all you want to. I don't really mind it. But towards each other, disrespect, it's just not cool. It's not what we're here for. So All My Heroes Are Cornballs, fantastic album. JPEG Mafia, I would say he outdid himself, but Veteran is also great. So he came with the high quality that we were expecting from him. And that's just very satisfying. When you expect something great and you get something great, it's great. Coming in at number 7 is Magdalene by FKA Twigs. This one dropped late this year. I actually dropped my reaction to this, I think it was last week. But since then, I have just been absolutely obsessed. I love the whole aesthetic, the whole atmosphere to this project. It's reasonably short. It's got 9 tracks on it. I think it's about 40 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer than that. FKA Twigs' vocals are just heavenly on this, dude. And the production choices are so interesting, so experimental. I actually made the comment that it was like Lana Del Rey meets Yeezus. And some FKA Twigs didn't really like that comparison, but I think it's pretty fair. Coming from me, that is a huge compliment. I mean no disrespect to FKA Twigs when I say that. I just mean that it's very interesting to hear such soft, angelic vocals on some gritty production. I think it's absolutely fun, phenomenal. It's great. It's very interesting to listen to. And it is definitely an experience. It's not an album that you might consider mainstream. It's not going to get too much radio play. That track with Future definitely will, but it is definitely an experience. If you haven't heard this, do yourself a favor. Give this a listen. It is great. We're going to go right into number 6 on my list, Ginger. Now, first listen, I didn't enjoy it as much as Iridescence. Second listen, I didn't enjoy it as much as Iridescence. In conclusion, I don't think that Ginger is as good a project as Iridescence, but, huge but, I don't blame the boys for not making this as good as Iridescence was. They are in very, how can I say this? They're in a very complex and tough mental situation right now, and this album is indicative of that. It's reflective of their mental state. There's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of anxiety in here, there's a lot of frustration, and so it is going to be an album that is not as easy or fun to listen to as Iridescence was. Iridescence was very energetic. It had some great melodic songs as well, a whole lot of energy to bop to, and this one is definitely more of a saddening kind of album. It definitely puts you into a very lulled state. It definitely shows you exactly what they're going through. They did a great job at expressing themselves on this project. Again, some great takeaways, some very awesome singles. Some of the tracks that I hadn't liked on my first listen definitely grew on me. But all in all, I was expecting that this album from Brockhampton would have fallen higher up on my list, but it comes in at number 6 because it was a little bit underwhelming. But it definitely said something when your underwhelming project is coming in within the top 10 at the end of the year. So Brockhampton is extremely talented, and I'm certain that their next album is going to be incredible. I'm a huge fan of their music. I absolutely love the boy band, and I'm pleased with this project. It's not everything that I was expecting it to be, but it's definitely good enough to be at number 6 on my list, because listening to this again, it definitely made so much more sense to me than it did on the first listen. I was able to pick out so much more interesting stuff in the production when I listened to it with headphones. Sugar is one of the best Brockhampton songs ever. It is absolutely great. And I really enjoy it. I like the project a lot. Number 5 on my list, coming in at dead center, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go by Billie Eilish. This was a very pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting that Billie Eilish's project would come in at top 10. Going back and listening to these albums again, especially ones like this where I was a little iffy on how exactly I felt, was just so eye-opening. And the second time that I listened to this, it made so much more sense. The third time I listened to it, it made even more sense. It's such a great pop album. The dark vibes that she comes with, the soft vocals that she comes with, her performance, the songwriting is not brilliant, but it's also not bad. Like I said, it comes in at dead center. You know, it's a fantastic pop album. It's definitely one of the more enjoyable projects. One of the easiest to listen to all the way through, all year for sure. I like that Billie Eilish doesn't just make depressing music. I like that she shows off how energetic and how fun and how actually dark she can be. And I just think that it's a phenomenal project. I think she did a great job, and I'm very excited, especially since she's so young, to see just how far she goes in her career. I think she's extremely talented. She's one of the artists like Brockhampton that really excite me about, the future of music, because they're all so young and they'll be around for so long, hopefully. Number 4 on my list, So Much Fun by Young Thug. This project, dude, it took me some getting used to at first. Definitely a more tame Young Thug than we're used to. Definitely some songs that I do skip. I don't really like Ecstasy all that much. I think I skip Light It Up for sure. I'm not a huge fan of it. There are some songs on there that I do skip, but overall, this project is so fun to listen to. These songs are all so great. It's a fantastic project to put on in the background and just vibe to whenever you're doing something. A lot of these tracks are very fun. They're very energetic. I love the fact that it's called So Much Fun, because it really is fun to listen to. The features are great. Young Thug is doing his thing on this project with the beat selection, his actual performance itself. Like I said, definitely more tame than we're used to. Not as out there, not as zany, showing a little bit of maturity, but still very high quality music. I actually regret giving it, I think I gave it a 7. I want to give it a higher rating, actually. I think it's definitely worth more. I should have listened to it even more than I actually did when I wrote the review. But I think it's a fantastic project. I think that Young Thug is really showcasing just what he can do at this point in his career. He might be at his best now. I'm not certain. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, this is just really good. So that's my opinion on it. Number 3, we're in the top 3 now. Let's get it. Number 3 is He Real by IDK. This is another project that kind of went under the radar. A lot of people just didn't even talk about it, didn't mention it at all. I am so glad that I actually gave this a shot and wrote a review for it. It's phenomenal. I really love this project. I think it's in my top 3 at the end of the year. It's such a good album. The way that he explores the idea of God's existence and the versatility that he displays throughout the project with the skits. He even got DMX to be featured as a priest in this album. It's so cohesive. It displays a very clear thought process. The beat selection is so great. The mixing is so clean on all of them. Porno is one of the best tracks, I think, off of the project. I also love, I forget the name of it now. Oh my God, I forget the name and my phone is recording, so I'm not gonna go onto Spotify and find it, but so many good takeaways from the project. The vast majority of this project made it onto my playlist. Almost no skips, very easy to listen to. I think it's 37 minutes long. It goes by so fast. He keeps all the tracks relatively short. European Skies, I think is the name. Such an awesome song, dude. I'm pretty sure that's the name. Such a great song. The vast majority of this project is just so incredible to listen to. Such a great experience. Honestly, a lot of people, like I said, this just went right under their radar. If you haven't heard this, I'm serious. It's an album that explores the idea of God's existence without coming off as preachy. And he kind of showcases both sides of the coin, you know, the people who, the side of him that doubts God's existence, the side of him that believes God's existence, and why. I just think that it's so interesting, and it's such a colorful, like that's kind of it's strange, but the word colorful comes to mind when I think of this project because of how vibrant the actual art is, but also just because of the diversity in the music and the different vibes that he comes with. December is another great song. The song names are coming back to me now. Such a fun vibe, such a nice little dance hall vibe, kind of little Caribbean vibe to it. You know, just the versatility is all so diverse. It's a very colorful project, and I think you should definitely listen to it if you have not, and do yourself that favor. This is the point where the vast majority of you are going to disagree with me, and that is okay. That is the beauty of music. That's why the fact that music is subjective is phenomenal, because we can have these conversations. All of our lists can look radically different, and we can all just appreciate each other's music and appreciate the music that came out all year in various different ways. Like I said, let's keep any discussions in the comment section civil and respectful and mindful of each other's opinions and the fact that everyone's entitled to their own. Number 2 on my list is Igor. Igor is absolutely, objectively deserving of the top spot on my list. It is, and I'm going to say that right now. It's phenomenal. There's no other word to describe it. It is incredible. It is an incredible experience like no other. The way that Tyler, the Creator, plays with the production and our emotions and the dynamics, everything is so loud, but the quiets in this album are actually so quiet. Using awesome features, incredible vocals to tell this story and to give us this wonderful, wonderful portrait of a loving relationship, and at the same time one that hurts. Honestly, I'm at a loss for words and trying to describe it. It is just, it's a wonderful project. I think that Tyler really outdid himself this time. You know, I think that he did. I think that it's better than Flower Boy, and Flower Boy was awesome. It is an album that I expected to be great, and it was better than I expected. You know, it's really leaves us speechless. So why is it not at number 1 on my list? Well, the personal experience. You know, the personal experience for sure. Like I said, it surprised me with how good it was, even though I was expecting it to be great, but it didn't hypnotize me in the way that the Top Spot album did. And coming in at number 1 on my list is Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey. I put out a review for this album. I didn't get too many views, so a lot of you guys might be very shocked at why this is at number 1. This album caught me by surprise in a way that it's a surprise, so I wasn't expecting it. I expected Igor to be great, and it was better than I expected. I expected Norman fucking Rockwell to be mediocre. I expected it to be boring. I expected it to put me to sleep. And I kind of dreaded listening to it, especially since it's over an hour long. I dreaded listening to it for the review that I was going to write. For a while, I put it off. And my first listen to this project was okay. You know, it was better than I expected, but it was still really slow and it didn't really click with me the first time I heard it. But I set it back all the way and I played it through again. And the second time, I appreciated it a lot more. I noticed things in the production that were just incredible and surprising to me and so atmospheric and beautiful. And the musicality here is out of this world. And I was like, all right, wow, yeah, that was much better than my first listen. And before I knew it, I was playing it on a loop. You know, before I knew it, I was listening to it the third time. And the third time I was able to catch things in her lyrics that were just completely over my head the first 2 times, you know? And I was like, wow, not only is the production absolutely beautiful on this album, but her lyrics are touching and mature, and they're deep and they're relatable. Some songs they're flirty, and some songs they're fun. Some songs they're very sad. And the lyricism was impressive to me the 3rd time. And without even realizing it, I put it again. I listened to it again a 4th time. And halfway through my 4th listen, I realized I've just been looping this album all day. This is the 4th time that I listened to it, and I can't stop. I don't want to stop. I want to listen to it again once this is over. I want to go back and go through this experience again, because something about that combination of Lana Del Rey's lyricism and the production and her performance is hypnotizing. You don't realize it, but it pulls you in and it grabs you and it embraces you, and it's warm and it's comforting and it's beautiful. And before you realize it, you've listened to it 4 times and you're going back in for your 5th listen. And the project's an hour and 20 long, I think. Something like that. I listened to it 4 times once in a day. And I almost listened to it a 5th time before I stopped myself. You know, and then the next day I listened to it again 2 or 3 more times. I don't know what it was about it that just grabbed me personally. And so Igor was great. Greater than I expected it to be. Norman fucking Rockwell. I expected nothing from it, and it turned out to be everything to me this year. It was absolutely insane. And that element of being surprised by the album, paired with the hypnotizing experience of the project, I mean, I had to give it my top spot. I had to. And it's not even the type of music that I normally listen to. It's not even the type of music that I listen to very often. I don't normally listen to this when I'm trying to relax. You know, I don't normally come to this genre, this style of music. But she hypnotized me with this project, dude. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Definitely give it a listen. Do yourself a favor. Because I think it's the best project that came out this year. And that's my top 10 list, guys. Let me know what your list is in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Don't forget. It really helps to get the video out there to more people. If you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content, subscribe. Let's get this channel to 15,000. I believe we hit 13,400 today. It's huge. Thank you all so much. I actually posted the other day that the channel is over 1 million total views, and that is huge. I cannot thank you guys enough as well for that. You guys are incredible. I can't believe that I actually get to do this and have this pay some of my bills. You know, it's such a treat. It's such a pleasure. You guys are incredible for that. And I am super grateful for your support. And that being said, oh yeah, and the Patreon, you get access to all those exclusive things that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and the link to that is in the description. Follow me on my social media if you would like to hit me up for any reason. I had somebody text me yesterday on Snapchat at 2:30 in the morning asking for mixing tips, vocal mixing tips, and I was more than happy to oblige. So hit me up on my Instagram, my Twitter. I used to put my Snapchat in the description. I don't anymore because I barely use it. If you have music that you want me to review that is your own, you can hit me up on my Instagram. That'd be the place to do that. And we can talk about getting you a video for yourself and for your own music. Suggestions for videos or submissions for putting y'all on. Instagram is also the way to do that. I think my email is also in the description. So if you want to talk to me or get in touch with me, description's where you do that. I think I've made myself more than clear here. I have to go record a Roddy Ricch reaction now. So I will see you all in another video very, very soon, guys. Until then, stay safe. Peace out.